Welcome. We are back with our Smile Power Hero of the Week. I'm joined today with Dr. Chris Macri. He is the owner of Macri Dental down in the Bellevue and Quebec area in the Landmark Center. He's been in practice for 20 years here in Colorado, and he's been in his current practice location for the last couple of years. Dr. Macri, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We've been hearing some really interesting things that you've been doing to help people over the last 8 weeks during the COVID crisis. One of the things I heard about was a project that you've done to solicit help from your patients to help people with a shortage of masks. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We did. One of the nicest things about having a big pool of patients is to be able to ask them for help in a situation like this. And we reached out and asked if anybody could sew. If they were willing to make masks for us, we would collect them and then autoclave them and get them distributed to different places around town here. We also put a notice out on Nextdoor. So we had people that were patients, we had people that weren't patients, and we received almost 1,000 masks donated to us that we were able to take to Children's Hospital. We took them to Swedish. They've been to homeless shelters and retirement communities in the area. And I've met with so much gratitude from the people in these places. They're so happy to be able to get some masks.
So they arrived. You show me one of them. Hold one of them up there because I know you've got all kinds of different patterns there. I love it. And these were made by patients and team members here. That's great. And speaking of patients, what's different in terms of how you see patients in your office today versus a couple months ago?
It's some pretty significant changes. One is the virtual waiting room. So patients will call when they get here. When it's time to bring them back, rather than having them sit in the waiting room, they'll sit in their car. We'll call them up. We'll take their temperature, ask them a couple of COVID-specific questions, bring them back to the room, have them rinse with some mouthwash, peroxide, and with some scope in there. And then we've done our best to reduce aerosol as we're working throughout the day. We have increased PPE, the protective equipment. So there's a lot of changes just in how we go through our day. Little changes, but they add up to, I think, a significant increase in safety for both us and the patients, given what's going on.
Great. And speaking of patients, what would you say to a patient about if they had fear about going into the dental office at this point? I know so many offices have done similar things to what you've done to help increase the safety for patients. What's your advice to patients?
I believe that the dental office is one of the safest places you can go. We've been disinfecting rooms before and after every patient for as long as I've been practicing, much longer than that. We've had barriers and we sterilize instruments. And now that we have guidance from the CDC, from the dental agencies out there, I think what we have in place really helps to protect both the patient and us. So I feel comfortable doing my work, and I see lots of patients all day long, and I'm not worried about going home at the end of the day to my daughter and to my wife because of the confidence I have in the steps that we put in place.
Excellent. No, and great job there. And so many dentists in that same boat right now, making sure they want to protect not only their families and their team, but also all of the patients that we value so much in our offices. One last thing I heard about was you got pretty creative on this whole mask thing, and the cloth masks weren't enough. And then it seems like you took it to a whole nother level. Tell us a little bit about that.
Being the computer nerd that I am, and I love technology, we have a 3D printer in the office. And I print dental models and some really boring stuff. But one of the cool things over the last 6 weeks that I've been able to print are these little masks. So we'll print one of these, and then when we tried it on, what I found was when you smile or talk or laugh, it creates a gap in the side of this so that it's not sealed anymore. So we took that and then made what's called a suck down. A suck down is where you take a rubbery material, suck it down on top of that, and create a shape out of it. And with that shape, we've made a rubberized mask for our high-risk patients. I tried working with this, and it seals so well. It's a little hot, and it's like breathing through a pillow. So for me, chair side, I use a regular mask and a face shield as I'm working. But we have patients that have had organ transplants. We've had patients that have had heart surgery. And for them, right now is especially scary. They're looking at, if they get sick, they could potentially die. So for them to have something like this that actually protects from the virus, when you wear this thing, you can't smell anything. You can't smell coffee. That's a good indicator that you're filtering out the virus. What's in here is an N99 mask that we got from a company that's cut these up. These are used for hospital operating rooms and filters the air in there. So when you wear this thing, it allows them, even if they're not going out, it allows them to have people, their family, come to their house or come into the room, that they can feel a little bit more protection. So
Yeah.
it's really a nice gift to be able to offer these patients of ours.
That's yeah, what a great job. And I mean, if we go to the movies, it's always the bad guys that are wearing the masks, and looks like you guys are the superheroes that are on the good side
We get
and
to
really
that.
creating these masks for your patients and for those in the community that are at risk. And just want to thank you so much for everything you've done in the last couple months, and the approach you've taken to really protect people and the patients that are just so vital to your practice. Our Smile Power Hero of the Week, Dr. Chris Macri. Dr. Macri, thanks so much for joining us today.
All right, thank you.
Great job, and stay healthy.
All right, you too.